Hi, this is Jim Palmer, and I'm here to share with you something that I just did with my carb intake runners. These are for a 1985 GL1200. So I bought this bike with about 60,000 miles on it, and it is a pretty good motorcycle, but it had been off the road for 11 years. So I had to overhaul the carburetors on it, which I did over last winter, and there they are there, nice and clean and shiny. So one of the things that I ran into on it were these intake runners. They were just hard as a rock, and there was really no commercial solution for them. So I was introduced to a rubber rejuvenator from one of the guys at work. He says he'd seen this on the internet and decided that it might help me out, and I was very skeptical at first. I'd heard of this before, but I thought, what the hell, what have I got to lose, you know? So I went ahead and I looked into it, and I discovered that the rubber rejuvenators that are on the market are a mixture of xylene and then wintergreen oil. So, looking around, I found out that the rejuvenators are pretty dang expensive. It was like $10 or $10 to $15 for a 4-ounce bottle like this, and oil was pretty expensive. I got this bottle for $12. I decided that I could mix my own by using a 70% mixture of xylene and 30% of wintergreen oil. I don't know if the camera can focus in that well at that. So with that, I mixed it up and I put it in a jar where all 4 of these would fit, and I was astonished, just absolutely astonished by the results. I mean, these things were just petrified. You could drive nails with them, and look at that. I mean, it's unbelievable. You can compress it with your fingers. Very happy about that. Absolutely amazed, right? So they did swell up a little bit. I left it in the mixture for about 3 days. Probably 2 days would have been plenty. And that may have caused them to swell up. But I'm able to get the clamp on it without any problem. So I think it'll be okay. It'll squish right down there. Some of the other reports I've read on the internet show that they just remain soft. So it's like rejuvenated the rubber, just like it's advertised. The other thing that I've done, the carb boots, the CV vacuum slides, they had shrunk as well. They were not hard. I mean, they still roll up. But I was afraid that because of the running problems I was having, it was a kind of a 4,500 RPM stumble, that it would be a good idea to go ahead and replace them. So, and they'd also shrunk. So when I put them in, I had to use like handlebar cement or handlebar grip cement to hold them in position so I could put the caps back down. These guys here. So I bought these on eBay. These are a German manufacturer. The boots. So you cut the top ring off with a pair of diagonal cutters. If you hit it right, they just break, right? Just like that. And then they just come off. The old ones come off. I have an ultrasonic cleaner, so I threw them in the ultrasonic cleaner to get all the gas and oil off of them. And then they supplied some super glue, cyanoadhesive super glue, to put these on, and they came out really nice. I mean, they are solid on there. They're very well sealed to the slides. The one thing that you got to watch for them is when you do put these on, there's a sensor port on the bottom. If you can see the hole, you kind of see through it there. That has to be lined up with this tab, and so the instructions tell you to put a mark on there, which I was careful to mark. I also made a diagram of the orientation I just drew it a circle on paper and then did a center hole or a crosshair on it to show the alignment. So if the hole is towards you, if the hole is away from you, it's just a little bit off to the left there. I don't know if you can see it very accurately, but probably if you project the center line of the slide piston out, it's probably about 3/16 of an inch to the left is the right position. That sensor port, when these go in the carburetor, they sit in there like that. So the sensor port is actually on the exhaust side, or on the downstream side of the piston. So you can see it in there. So there's that. So I'm going to go ahead and put these back together. Okay, so you can see that brown stuff on there. That's what's left from the grip glue I used to hold the old diaphragms in place, and that can't be a good thing. So all the crud's cleaned out. Here's the new diaphragms on the sliders. I just wanted to point something out. Honda factory shop manual shows a folded over piece of hose down in the venturi to hold the diaphragm or the slider up when you take and put the things together. So I don't want to take them apart, so I just put this dowel in here. It's up to the needle. You can see the shape of this. I think what Honda wants you to do is when you seal these down with the cap, that there's no stretching on the diaphragm at all. You can see here with these, now who knows what they would compare to a set of new ones. They do set up a little bit. This one's down a little lower, but it's probably 1/8 of an inch higher than the way that it came. The other ones were just shrunk. They were smaller in diameter, and it just wouldn't fit all the way around. I was afraid it was stretching the CVs when you would throttle the bike. The CV would not respond equally across all 4 cylinders. So just a little bit of analness here. Got all the old glue out of there. That was supposed to be the next owner's problem to deal with, but I did. It was a pain to get it all out. Wound up scraping it with a little wood chisel and then bringing it back with a brass wire brush, and then cleaned it up with MEK. Of course, garage door is open when you use MEK. Nasty stuff. Okay, so I bought slightly one size larger jets for the idle and the mid-range jets. I went ahead and I'm taking the idle jets and going to leave them stock at 35s. The main jet on these bikes is a 108, and Kleinen, that's the smallest main jet that Kleinen makes for this style carb. I've got good I have some friends on the Honda Twins that work a lot on the single overhead cam twins that use these same carbs. Honda really leans these bikes out, and so I'm going to go ahead and leave the idle jets at stock and go into 112s on the mains. Friend of mine who's pretty good on the BMW, so you always want to be a little on the rich side. We'll see what happens. So I got the idle jets put back to the 35s, the 112 mains. That'll do it. A couple of things here before I turn it over. These clamps, the way they were when I took the bike apart, the clamp face was up against the bowl of the carburetor. I don't know if you can see, they're pretty scratched up right there. I think what happened is when you take the carbs out, this is one of the areas where the clearance gets tight, and with the leg of the clamp standing out, you're kind of using up some of your clearance. So if you turn them sideways like this, this is 1, that's 3, and that goes in, I think you get a little more room. And I did the same thing over here on the other side. That should give you about a 1/4 inch more clearance when I try to put the carbs back in tomorrow. The other thing that I've done to it, I changed the reed valves in the, these are the old ones that are in the air recirculation system. I was trying to think of everything that could be wrong with it, and I just started buying parts. Not a very smart thing. So $60. I probably didn't need them, but there's new ones in there now, and that's that. Then the last thing I didn't say earlier, I tied the throttle open, so when I put the dowel up into the exhaust or the carburetor venturi, I didn't have the butterfly valve laying on it with the spring tension. Those shafts are brass, they're pretty soft. You don't want to be abusing them in any way. So I'll cut this out, clean up, put the wife's car back in the garage, and call it good for tonight. The carbs go in tomorrow. See how she runs. In my little joy project over there. Thanks for watching.